Hi you guys, I am ready to do our Module 13 review. I am on page 381 in your math workbooks. This is our first module on fractions, so exciting. We're really thinking about what fractions mean and what they represent. And so this is super exciting that we're diving into this. So we're going to start with the vocabulary section, number 1. It says write each number under the category that it matches. So the categories are fractions greater than 1, a mixed number, unit fractions, and a whole number. So we need to know what each of those categories means so that we can take all these numbers up here and put them in the right box. So I'm actually going to start over on this side over here with whole numbers because I think that will be the easiest for us to find. A whole number is just a regular number without any fraction or decimal. It's just a complete number. So looking through here, I don't want a fraction and I don't want a whole number with a fraction. So I'm not going to use 1/2, but I am going to use 4. 4 is a whole number. It doesn't have anything extra, anything left over. So I'm going to cross that out. That's done. Then I'm going to keep going, and there's 2. So those are my only whole numbers in this list, are 4 and 2. They don't have anything extra. It just is the regular number. Then I'm going to go to our unit fraction. Remember, unit fractions are one piece that represents the size of all the pieces of a whole. And so we're talking about one of the equal parts. So we're looking for numerators that are 1. In fact, I'm going to write that underneath here. I'm going to say numerator is 1. That's what a unit fraction tells us. Numerator is 1. So I'm going to go through and see if any of these will work. Right here I have 1/8. That's a unit fraction. Now, this one does have 1 as a numerator, 3.5, but it's not a unit fraction because it has the whole number 3 attached to it, and so that doesn't count. 5/4, nope, too many pieces. 1/4 is a unit fraction because it tells us the size of the pieces. Cross that out. Not 11/8, not 1 1/3, but 1/2 is a unit fraction. So we have 1/8, 1/4, and 1/2. Okay, the next one tells us, or is asking for mixed numbers. So mixed numbers are numbers that have a whole number and a fraction with it. So like 5 and 7/8 or 2 1/2. So I'm going to look through. I'm looking for a whole number with a fraction. There's 3.5 right there. So I'm going to write 3 1/2. See how it's like bigger and then the fraction is smaller next to it. So cross it out. And then I'm going to do 1 1/3. Like that. Oh, I forgot to cross this out. The 1/2, the unit fraction. And this one, perfect. And then the last one is a fraction that is greater than 1. So with these ones, our numerator, the number on top, is greater than the denominator or more than the denominator. So we have left 11/8. That is a fraction greater than 1 because the numerator is bigger than the denominator or more than the denominator. And then we have 5/4 because 5 is more than 4. So this tells us that the size of the pieces are 1/8 and we have 11 of them. So if we're talking about like a pizza or slices of pizza, we would say each whole pizza has 8 slices, but we have 11 slices, so we have a whole piece or like a whole entire pizza plus 3 extra slices. That's what this number means, 11/8. All right, totally groovy. Let's do number 2. It says, draw lines to divide the shape into 8s. So in order to know that, or in order to do that, I need to know what eighths mean. Okay, so I'm using context clues, things that I know about numbers, and eighths means that there are 8 equal pieces. So maybe write that on the side so you know that eighths means 8 equal pieces. So I'm going to take this square and divide it into 8 equal pieces. I want to be as careful as possible. So I'm going to divide it in half, and I know I can divide it in half because 8 is divisible by 2. So I divide that in half. I'm going to divide it in half again. And now I have 4 pieces. So I need to divide each of these pieces in half. So I'm going to do another line, another line. So that's going to be, that one went a little slanted on accident. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on top, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. So 8 pieces all together in this square. The next direction says shade one part of the shape. So one part would be this one piece right here. I could have done this one or that one or that one, as long as it was just one of those pieces. Write the fraction that names the shaded part. So the number on top, our numerator, is our number that we're counting. So we're counting the shaded pieces. How many shaded pieces do I have? 1. And the denominator, the number on the bottom, is how many pieces there are altogether. And there are 8 pieces altogether. So this shows me 1/8 of a square, which this is also a unit fraction because the numerator is 1. All right, number 3, it says each triangle represents 1/2 of a whole square. So over here in our picture, each of those triangles represents 1/2 of a whole square. So how many triangles make a whole square? 2. How many triangles do you need to make 7 halves? Tell what strategy or tool you will use to solve the problem, explain your choice, and then find the answer. For this one, I'm going to use what I know about unit fractions. So unit fractions, and I wrote that in the wrong spot. I was supposed to write that on the line, but that's okay. Unit fractions tell me what one piece is worth, or what that is measured as. And so it says each triangle represents 1/2 of a whole. So this right here, this triangle, is 1/2. Now, how many triangles would I need to have 7 halves? I would need 7 triangles. Does that make sense? So 1/2 of a whole, this triangle is the same as 1/2. So if I want 7 halves, I need 7 of whatever a half is. In this situation, a triangle is a half. And so I need 7 triangles. Awesome. Next page. It says, what fraction names the shaded part? So to answer this question, I need to know the denominator, the number on the bottom. I need to know how many pieces are in the whole. And then I need to count the number of pieces that are shaded. So I'm going to count how many I have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my denominator is going to be 6, which means right off the bat I can cross out option A because it says 1/4, and this is not divided into 4 pieces, it's divided into 6 pieces. Then I'm just going to count the shaded part because that's what it's asking me to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces are shaded. So that means the fraction would be 5 out of 6, or 5/6. And that leaves us with not B, not D. The answer is C, 5/6. All right, number 5. Which fraction is represented by the point on the number line? Okay, so here's my number line. It's showing 0 to 1. So there's a lot of space in between. This little point right here, okay, I need to know what that is at, what part of the number line it's at. So in order to do that, I need to count how many equal spaces there are from 0 to 1. So this dash mark to this dash mark, that I'm going to count that as one equal part. Then this dash mark to the next one, that's another equal part. And I keep counting those equal parts until I get to 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal spaces between 0 and 1, which tells me that each of these denominators is going to be 4 because they're 4 pieces, fourths, the denominator is 4. So that would be 0 out of 4, 1 over 4, 2 over 4, 3 over 4, and 4 over 4, which is the same thing as 1 whole. So then I go back to where the dot is at, and I labeled it 1/4. So the dot, the point, the fraction that represents the point is 1/4. So see how I had to do a little bit of background work before I could just select the fraction. I had to know how many equal parts were created between 0 and 1 so that I knew my denominator. All right, number 6, it says, which number line shows 3 out of 3? Okay, so this one, 3 over 3, that is the same as 1 whole thing, whether we're talking about pies, number line, pieces of a whole, pieces of a square. If it's 3 out of 3, that means all 3 pieces are selected, and so that gives us 1 whole thing, whatever it might be. So first thing that I want to look for on these number lines is that it's divided into the right number of pieces, and I want 3 pieces since the denominator is 3. So let's go through here. Option A has 1, 2, 3 equal pieces, and the point is at 1. So that seems like it's the right answer. I'm going to put a check mark by it, but because we are superstar students, we're going to check the other options as well just to be sure. So option B is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces between 0 and 1. So this would be into sixths. Now the point is right here at 3. Some people might go, oh, 1, 2, 3, bam, there it is. But we have to remember that the bottom number is 6, so it's 3/6, so it's actually 1/2. That is not the same as 1, obviously, as 1/2. So this one is out. It is not B. Option C, let's count and see how it's divided. It looks like it's also into sixths. So same thing. Oh, you know what? 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, no, that was right. So this one is also divided into sixths. So we know that it's not correct, especially because the dot is at 1, 2, 3 again. Well, so let's see. Did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, I definitely miscounted. So this is divided into 8 equal sections. So this is showing 3/8 where the point is. So definitely not 3/8. Do you see how this is like a little bit tricky? They're trying to trick you by counting 1, 2, 3 dot, and then it's not right. All right, and then finally number 7. It says, which is the length of the craft stick to the nearest ½ inch? So I'm going to take my ruler,
I got a LT,
and I'm going to line it up.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to go eat lunch real quick and then get back to it. So I was about to give you a call. I'm just working
Holding
on this
too many things.
Sent me her bills while I was at lunch.
So remember that we line up our ruler with the 0 line, or whatever object we're measuring, we line it up with the 0 line, not with the edge of our ruler. So I'm looking at this, and it wants to the nearest
I need to
half
take way more
inch,
transfers this week,
and
but,
I'm
that's
past
pretty good.
4, and it's really close to the halfway mark between 4 and 5. So I know that that is going to be 4.5 inches. Option B.
Well, I've
So
gotten
there we
2 utility
go.
bills already today.
All right,
I've
so
got
that
3
is our
that was a
review.
joke, but then 2 of them
You
were pretty
guys
good.
are going to do the chapter or the module 13 practice test after you've done this review. So good luck, do your best. I'm sure it's gonna go great.
Oh, I
Let me
think
know
I'll for
if
sure
you
be
need
on time
anything.
with it.
Love your kids.
I'll
Bye.
have to go back through, see if there's